Welcome back to the Work Mija podcast, a place for mujeres motivated to cultivate the life they deserve. I am your host, Xochitl Carmona, founder of Work Mija, an apparel and accessories brand for Latinas who unapologetically celebrate their culture through empowering and relatable messages. Thank you for joining me and enjoy these inspiring conversations. Hello and welcome. Today I'm joined by Jelitsa Legarreta. Jelitsa is the owner of Uviña Skin. Uviña Skin makes it really easy for people to have healthy, glowing skin, giving you back the power of time by scaling down the 10-step skincare routine to get you results in 3 simple steps with the Uviña Power Bundle, which is designed to cleanse, calm, brighten, and hydrate. I like that word, hydrate. Using ingredients inspired by tradition and culture. The inspiration of Uviña Skin is truly multi-generational and built from the stories and personalities of Jelitsa's mother, grandmother, and great aunts. These were proud Puertorriqueñas who moved through the world confidently, lovingly, and intentionally. I'm so excited to have her here on the podcast today and learn more about her journey. So welcome, Jelitsa.
Thank you for having me. That was amazing. Thank you so much for that intro. I'm like in such a good mood now. I'm like, really? Yeah.
Yes, I'm so excited. Also, another Chicago girl.
Yes,
correct?
Born and raised. The majority of my time was in Homo Park. Very
nice.
Stronghold, the Puerto Rican community. And then I spent like my teenage years in Wicker Park. But yeah, born and raised.
Love it. And excited to learn more about Jelitsa and her business journey. Before we get into that, we like to get a little astrological here on the Work Mija podcast. So we got to know Jelitsa's sun sign, which is your identity and where you shine. And Jelitsa is a fiery Aries sun. We love our Aries jefas. It's a fire sign. They are a leader, a go-getter with all the energy to keep going. Sometimes, a little dramatica from time to time, but we also like to call that passionate. It's called passion. Yeah. And then her moon sign, which is your body, rules your body and your emotions. She is a Taurus moon. So it's actually kind of funny. Whereas like the Aries is very like, let's go. Taurus is kind of a little bit more practical, need for predictability, a little bit more like, let's build something amazing slowly. Let's do this right. They're very
super interesting because like I told you, I've never looked into my astrological signs to this. Mm-hmm. But it's interesting that you say that because I am fiery. I make literally life-changing decisions at like in a split second. But once I've made that decision, my process for executing it is very practical. So that resounded for sure.
There we go. Balance. We need balance in our lives. And I don't know, just throw you a little curveball there, the rising sign, which is your motivation for life and or how you can tend to project yourself as. So when people are like, I don't see Aries, in the sun sign, it's maybe you're projecting your rising sign a little bit more, which is still a fiery one, Sagittarius rising. Also Sagittarius rising myself, so I love that. But I feel like this kind of really comes out in your like marketing and social media because the Sagittarius are the storytellers. They're also just known to be very optimistic approach to life, very cheerful, energetic, fun-loving, which I feel like even just meeting you in social media, exclamation marks, I'm like, oh, me too.
I actually sometimes have to like catch myself and be like, did you put too many? Like you
same, edit. Yes, Sagittarius rising problems.
For sure.
Oh my gosh, I love that. I love just get to know, people a little bit more astrologically. It's a little bit more like a radical self-awareness. So I always think it's fun. Hopefully, you'll kind of keep these in mind as we go through our chat because I like to point things out. I was like, oh my gosh, that is very Taurus moon of you, blah, blah, blah. But thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, Jelitsa, can you tell us a little bit more about who you are, where you're from, and why you decided to start your business?
Yeah. So I, like I mentioned, Puerto Rican girl, born and raised over in the Homo Park neighborhood of Chicago. So Chicagoan through and through. I've lived here all of my life with the exception of about a 7-year stretch where I lived in Miami. So I'm a nurse by background, went to nursing school in Miami and came back home to practice nursing. I'm married and have a very fiery 8-year-old. She's a Virgo, if that's giving you anything. We can get into her details later, but she's spicy. But yeah, so that's me basically in a nutshell. And I am I'm a huge traveler, a huge dreamer, which kind of like rolls into the story of Uviña Skin. And I also am very practical. I like things, but I like things to work well. I like things to make sense. I like things to be simple, but yet, give me a sense of like overall accomplishment and fulfillment. So sometimes I'm looking for a lot of boxes that are a little difficult to be checked. And so when it came to my skin, which I never in a million years would have thought that I would have started a skincare brand, like never. I mean, I could have answered yes to maybe some other super ridiculous suggestions people could have thrown my way. And I'd be like, yeah, that sounds plausible. Not this one. It was just not something I would have ever considered. And I had my elaborate skincare routine, 9, 10 steps. Got to throw on the face mask, sit with the face mask for 30, 40 minutes. It was a whole thing. And it was wonderful and great in time for myself. And then I had my daughter. So it was not going to happen. It was absolutely over. I mean, when you have a child, like just the idea of putting lotion on your body after a shower is like a whole chore. It's like, do I have the time for this? So once I had Scarlett, I started to question where I was spending my time and if I was getting the most bang for either time or money with whatever it is that I was doing. And so it honestly was one day I was super frustrated. I was trying to pick which pieces of my skincare routine I could do while I was trying to feed the baby, put the baby to bed, etc. And one day I grew super frustrated when I just couldn't find a product that I felt was more all encompassing. Like there were moisturizers that gave you moisture, great. But what about if you like brightened my skin? Or what about if you had ingredients that also helped with acne, or a serum that maybe wasn't oily and can do, more than one thing? Yes, you're giving me some vitamin C, but how about like help with my eyes or help with calming my skin? So I started to realize that I wasn't going to get that in my products. I tried to search to buy those products, couldn't find them. And then again, in a matter of like a split second, I was in my bathroom, opened the door, like just brought it open. My husband's on the bed. And I was like, you know what? That's it. I'm just going to start my own skincare brand. And he's like, okay, hold on. He's very used to these outbursts of like these enormous things that I'm going to do. And so he's like, oh, okay. What's going on? And I was like, I can't find it. I can't be the only one that wants it. And I'm just going to hire a chemist and I'm going to develop my own skincare brand. And the rest is history. Like I literally started that whole process and it just continued to snowball. That's how Uviña Skin came to be. And it's wild because I tell people there were so many parts throughout this process that anybody who's sane would have stopped and be like, you know what, maybe this is too big, or maybe I shouldn't go here. But nope, not me. I just continue to steamroll ahead. And so fast forward 2 years and here I am. And so Uviña Skin is just the skincare brand that I was looking for. It was what I wanted, one, as a mom, as a super busy person wearing a bunch of hats, and as someone who really loves self-care and loves taking care of their skin. So it's basically, a 3-step routine. It has a cleanser, a serum, and a cream that is just designed to like really love you, but allowing you to get back to your day. So yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Like I bet there has been a lot of things. I had so many questions. You're like, okay, there's one thing, be like, I'm going to start a skincare brand. Cause my thing was, I was like, okay, so how do we even go about, like formulas and stuff? But you said, you worked with a chemist.
I did.
So like even starting off with that. So say you're like, I'm going to look for a chemist. Google how to find a skincare chemist. Now, say you probably find a couple, like to you, what were some of the questions that you felt you wanted a chemist to be able to answer, or like that it took for you to find the right chemist for your brand?
Yeah, so that actually was really hard.
I bet.
Absolutely expected to just throw that search term in Google and just get, all of my answers. Absolutely not. It was really difficult because in the skincare industry, there are a lot of private label companies. And so for those that don't know what private label is, that means that you can just hire a company to just make you a bunch of what they already have, and you throw your own label on the container. And there are actually so many big brands that are on shelves that at least I've been informed are like most, like it's common to see private label. It's really, it's just a way to get out there quickly. I didn't want to do that because I wanted to own my product and own my ingredients and have a say in what it was. So when you Google, you get a lot of private label companies, and you don't really find these individual chemists that are looking to formulate for you. And even if these companies say, oh, we can also make you your own formula, we can help you make your own formula. When I've spoken to them, they're still really trying to sell me the private label. Like they're not interested in helping me create formula. So the way that I went about it is, so I'm a nurse, and in the medical field, it is very common for you to be part of an association of your specialty. So for example, if you're a pediatric nurse, then you are probably a member of the American Association of Pediatric Nurses. And so that means that you're up to date on your information. You follow what's going on, in the industry. And I was like, well, these chemists have to have something similar. And so that's what I found. I found their association, and they had a list of their members. And so that's how I went about contacting chemists that were willing to work with me individually. And so the one that I worked with was very focused on natural ingredients, naturally derived ingredients, was really focused on making sure that products would meet the standards in Europe, which are much more stringent than the non-existent standards.
I've heard that, yeah.
Yeah. So we actually formulated to those standards, and just was really focused on helping me make sure that we had some active ingredients in there that were backed by studies. So it was a really amazing process once I was able to find the chemist.
Was that a journey that took, like, say, how many chemists did you look at till you found the one?
Oh my gosh. I mean, the amount of emails and back and forth, and it was insane. I even traveled to Paris to speak with a chemist there. That didn't work out, but the number, I don't even know. I know when I came down after I filtered over months, I was down to like 5 different chemists.
Wow. And that's crazy. Like, I mean, and that's the thing. I've heard of that, like, and like other industries trying to find a manufacturer. And I feel like maybe a lot of those no's kind of come from also, maybe it's like, oh, you're so new, you're so small. Like, we want the big boys with the big bucks and stuff. So that's a hurdle on its own, let alone trying to find like the one for you, right?
Yeah. And that's another thing where like so many people lovingly give you advice. They're like, oh, well, why don't you, I saw this, why don't you just call them? And it's like, I would love to. They won't talk to me, Yeah. Maybe in 5 years, but right now it's like, yeah, I have to really work within where I am. And it's pretty tough to find, the diamonds in the rough.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. So that was a hurdle. Just to start, say you found your chemist, you're getting the business going, like, and just putting the idea, putting the vision, and then putting like everything into play. Were there any other like hurdles you felt that, or challenges that you encountered that you felt that you overcame eventually?
Yeah. I also don't think you realize how expensive everything is. And how many moving parts there are in running a business. There's public relations, there's marketing, there's search engine optimization. There's, it goes on. And the idea of hiring someone, yeah, that's fantastic. But I literally have gotten quotes from marketing teams and PR teams. And I kid you not, it has been like, oh, $20,000 a month, 12-month contract. And it's like, okay. I think one of the cheapest ones that I've gotten was 10 grand a month for 12 months. And it's like,
for PR or
what the $20,000 was for PR and the $10,000 was for marketing, which I understand the value. I'm not saying, I get it, but it's just not something that I could do. So I think realizing what you're able to work with as someone who's bootstrapping their business, and just getting really, really scrappy, very resourceful, and just trying, to get the word out and see who can help. And so, yeah, I think realizing how expensive this was definitely a shock to the system.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, yes. Yeah. I know. And especially when you run a product-based business, there's expenses that for product-based businesses, they're expensive for like service-based, and for product-based capital for just the product alone, especially depending what you're kind of making, that's like a big one. So, and marketing is really important because like there are so many amazing products out there, but if nobody knows about them, what's the point, right?
That's exactly true. Yeah, that's exactly it. And the thing is, when you're a solopreneur at that, it can get a little bit lonely, so like you have to be your own hype person. And then, you're splitting your day up or, into, I don't know how many different sections. It's like, okay, from this hour to this hour, I'm going to work on this, and this hour to this hour, I'll work on that. And, it goes on and on. So I think in the beginning, even after I launched, maybe even until like today, I mean, it's taken me it's just a constant realization and like regrounding and just taking a look again and again and again and saying like, okay, I'm moving forward, and how am I going to do this now? But yeah, I don't think I've really gotten comfortable with it until maybe really recent.
That's crazy. And so like say starting, you're building this brand, you're even maybe just like, okay, the first thing you're going to do, like what was your focus for like what you were doing for marketing when you started versus what was that thing that you really felt that you started doing that really helped elevate your brand?
Yeah. So for me, with my initial marketing, it was social media, absolutely social media, and email marketing. I did always go in with the understanding that social media, you're paying rent, email marketing, you own the land, right? So those were my two areas of focus. The issue with social media for me is that it's very hard for me to show up. It has taken me, and I'm sure, I go back and I like archive, some of those older posts, but if I were to show you like what I was putting out in the beginning, it took me almost a year to even show my face and talk. It's very, very hard for me. And even
we got to see the face. The face alone sells the skincare because the skin looks great.
Yes, it's so that was really tough for me, but that's something that I feel I've gotten more comfortable with over time. But yeah, it was definitely social media and email marketing for me, and word of mouth. The other thing, actually, now that I think about it, I also did a lot of pop-up markets. My first and second year, and I probably will continue to do some because I enjoy it. I love talking to people. I love testing, how the story resonates. Putting a face to the name, and I do get a lot of return customers from those markets. But yeah, those are my three areas when I first started.
I feel like especially with the pop-ups too, I feel like seeing the people in person, seeing the product in person, but I feel like especially let me know what you think, like for skincare, I really think there needs to be an education aspect more so to the skincare than say for like makeup. Makeup, you're like, this lipstick is red, I love it, doesn't work for me. Whereas skincare, even now still, I feel like that's one where people just still don't get it. They are I think I saw you put like a post or something like overconsumption and just like TikTok made me buy it. Like, is this influencer? I feel like it's very different for skincare because everybody's skin's different. Like, you really need that education piece. So I feel like meeting people in person really helps.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not an easy sell, and I know that going in. I have to educate you. We have to talk about it. Some people need to learn that, like the fact that I'm a nurse is something that's comforting to them. The fact that I hired a chemist, like they were like, what's in here? What's going on? How did you do this? Where are you making this? Like those things are important to the consumer. Yeah. And
because it's something you're putting on your skin as opposed to like a t-shirt, right? I'm just like, I'm a little bit more weary.
Yes, 100%. So I know that going in, I bring a lot of water when I'm at markets because I know I'm going to be talking all day, and then people are actually quite educated on skin and skincare. Like you'll get some people like, oh, what ingredient is this? Oh, I like that one. And, they're able to like have a back and forth about it. So I do think that they're really beneficial, and it does allow me to be in front of them, to let them smell it. That's the first thing people do. They pick up the serum, they pick up the cream, and they bring it right to their nose. And I always reinforce no added fragrances, So there are things that I know that reinforce that I made good decisions. And then there are others, and I'm like, oh, I could probably work on this angle in terms of like my education because this person, has such and such. But yeah, I am a harder sell. I am a harder sell. And it's a very busy market. It's a very busy market. And, especially if you go into like a retail store, you're going to get celebrity backed skincare. Like that's what you're going to see on the shelves, So I think a lot of people are becoming more savvy as to what's on their face and why they're putting it on there. But I definitely think we have a little bit of a ways to go. Because the beauty industry is overconsumption. We find ourselves in a space where they are going to latch on to our insecurity and, sell us everything that's going to fix it and make our whole life better. And so the message for me that's really important is I wanted to get away from that. I want to keep repeating it's healthy skin, not perfect skin. Like there's no way that we're not going to have texture or a dark spot or pores or, it's okay. I also try to reinforce it's not just your product. There's no miracle product. You have to live a specific life, you have to eat well. You have to drink your water, drink a tea or two. That never hurt, things like that. But I think the biggest thing for me that I want to like message or sell is really just have confidence in who you are. Like, you know what? We're going to give you back the power of time with these 3 steps that are really going to love your skin, but also like you're amazing already. It's okay. Let's not scale on and pile it on. Like you're already beautiful. So that's something that's really, really big for me too.
That's funny. As I listened to you talk too, I was like, I love how I forgot to mention Sagittarius risings are very much always on a journey. They're about the journey. So it's funny that you would pick a product. It's a skincare journey. And because especially a lot of people, that's the thing. They're just like, I want a quick fix, zip, zap, but it's drying. It's XYZ. But it's a fitness journey. It's a health journey. It's a skincare journey.
Absolutely. Yeah, it is. And, I am very much a person who will like sit and envision what I want life to look like. Right. So it's what are those other components that make up said life and how am I going to design them so that they bring me, the most joy. And a lot of that was really triggered by my mom. So Uviña is my mom. It was my mom's name. So, the brand is named after her. And I lost her, like 12, 13 years ago. And I grew up with, a single mom. She was literally like my whole world revolved around her. And when we lost her, I will never forget being in her home and just like packing her stuff away and donating it. And it's like, these are the things that she collected, right? But for us, we're just putting them I mean, aside from those very important, you know, mementos or whatnot, we're putting them in bags and we're giving them to the Salvation Army. And if you don't realize in that moment that life is not about a collection of things, but a collection of like experiences and love, and just like what we really need is so simple, but yet we just complicate it. But I can like still feel it in that moment. And it's just like, okay, I started to just scale, you know, just my thought process back. You know, it's like, I'm not going to buy 10 of those. I only need 2, you know, I'm not going to buy that for what, you know? And it's really just been an overall shift of just starting to focus on like those true fundamental things and making sure that everything I do is intentional. You know, I mean, I win sometimes, I lose sometimes. I'm not saying I always get it right, but at least that's where I am in terms of trying to get there. Yeah, it is a journey. It's so funny that you said that. If my husband were here, he would be like, yes.
That's so funny. Oh my God. But I feel like it's also like, and because you started this during the like pandemic.
Well, here's what's funny. So I actually started building the business in 2019. Or actually the end of 2018. So it took about almost 2 years to, to formulate, to do the stability testing, to make the all of the testing that was required. It takes time. And so it took about 2 years. So the pandemic hits and I still hadn't fully launched yet. And so I'm in this situation. I'm like, what do I do? But I was like, you know what? I've been working my butt off for almost 2 years. Like I'm launching anyway. So yeah, so I did end up launching in October of 2020, opening.
Wow. And and I asked that because I feel like it almost just made sense in the time that you launch, almost like there was like this like vision predictability for that. Basically it would be like a slowdown for people, because I feel like everybody's is been very go, and I need XYZ, I need all these things, and finally I feel like the world just shut down, and it's like, you know what, you really don't need to go out every weekend, you really don't need to buy all these things, look how much money you're saving, you know, the simplicity of life.
So I say this very sensitively because I know that time frame was also really hard for a lot of people. And as a nurse, it was really tough for like the healthcare industry. So I do say this sensitively, but I individually really loved the time that my family, like in my home, we were able to spend together, and like how everything just slowed down. I loved it. I found myself, you know, like everybody else, in the kitchen more, reading books, watching movies, working out. It was just, you hit it spot on, and like my heart just swelled. But yeah, I definitely think that it coincided beautifully, because that was definitely a slower time where we can look at each other and get to know each other, you know, like. A great example, I live, you know, I'm in the city. I live in Logan Square. We have the most phenomenal neighbors. We had never met them. There were children that were my daughter's age across the street. I've never seen these people. And of course, because now no one's going to work, no one's going anywhere. Well, all we can do is just like open up our doors and let the kids ride their scooters on the street that no one's driving on. We met our neighbors. Our kids are great friends, and now they're like incredible friends of ours, which we would have never gotten that opportunity if we were still running from A to B to C to D until we go to sleep and do it all over again. But yeah, the slowdown was great. It was great, and definitely was a good timing for Uviña, for sure.
Yeah, and so now you're still a nurse and running your business,
Girl,
and a mom. So how?
Girl.
How?
Girl, I don't know. I really don't know. Yes. So I am still working full time. And it's tough because I have a very, I have an awesome boss. I'm in a role that I really enjoy. And it gives me flexibility. You know, I'm home a lot. So I do think that there are some perks with that. And then, Uviña is definitely the baby that keeps me up at night. Luckily, my daughter, she's 8, she's pretty self-sufficient, and, her and my husband are able to figure some things out when I'm busy, but it's a lot. I'm not going to lie. There is a lot going on, but I have big dreams, I have big ideas and big wants. And I also at times am my own worst enemy, I'm just like, oh, I can take care of that. I got it.
Mm-hmm.
And I keep adding things to the list, but yeah, it's a full load right now. But my husband says to me, sometimes I'm like, oh, I'm doing too much. Like, I've got to scale it back. And he's like, if you scale it back though, you're just going to find something else to fill it with. You'll then decide, oh, you know what? I have time for this now. I'm going to, strength train 5 days a week, and I'm going to join a bodybuilding competition. Like, I don't know, something ridiculous. But he's like, you're just going to fill it with something else. That's your personality. You love to just go. And I think there is some truth in that, something I'm working on. But yeah, there's a lot going on over here for sure.
It's an Aries sign for you.
Textbook, right? It is.
Yeah. And especially where it's like, oh, okay, yeah, if I'm going to have an activity to chill out, it's going to be like an aggressive, like heavy lifting and workout. Like a fire sign needs, honestly, like I have an Aries moon. So it's like, I very much, for me, like working out and doing something like that, like that's how you get all that pent up energy out.
Yes. And I have zero chill. And so if I'm going to pick up a hobby, it's not like, oh, I'm just going to do this. No, I'm going to do it. I'm become an expert. Is there a certification? Because I want to be certified. It's
going to be the best. Yes. It is. To all my Aries heifas out there, you got it. I love it. And so will you guys be coming up on 3 years?
So
we're running your business?
I just celebrated 2 years at the end of October. So
nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're well into our 2nd year, and
nice.
3 years at the end of this year.
Nice. That's awesome. And within that time, because I feel like every year is just like a little bit different. There's year 1, there's year 2, but like with having, coming up on 3 years in October, what do you feel of everything you've done has been the hardest part about running your business for you?
I think the hardest part for me has been knowing what parts I can let go. Knowing what parts are of value, because when you're starting, you need to kind of be in it to see what is really going to move that needle. And so right now, I feel really comfortable. I think I have a true understanding and acceptance of like what I want Uviña to look like for me. I think I have defined success for me, and am now very comfortably working towards that. So that's been like delegating more. I'm hiring contractors to do certain things for me, engaging, with other services that, I can have them help me eliminate some of the load. But yeah, I honestly didn't get there until now. And it's a conversation that I have had, with my husband, and I say my husband because it's me and him, just kind of like sitting here and going through things. But yeah, it's been, I'm a very frugal person by nature. I am a Dollar Tree girl through and through. Like there are certain things that my husband will have to be like, do not go and buy this at the Dollar Tree. You have to go and get like the actual brand. So I'm very frugal, and he's like, you can't do this with your business. You can't treat your banking account, your business account, like your personal account, like you're going to have to spend money. And he's totally right. And I know that, but it's hard to find where you're going to get, your value. And so now I am pretty comfortable with the path that I'm on, and the people that I have helping me with things.
Nice. Poco a poco.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so before we get into the quick lightning round questions, one more question for you. If you can share, what goals do you have for Uviña Skin?
Yeah. So, I want Uviña Skin to become a wellness brand. I don't want to stay focused on just facial skincare. I want to start branching out. I want to be the one-stop shop for people who are looking for simple, effective, safe products. I also want to start rolling out, products that just make you feel good at home or in your skin. But I also see Uviña being, a small family-owned business. My aspirations for it, which I know in the time where people are like, I want to get, bought out. I want venture capitalists. I don't want that for Uviña. Uviña was built with the intention of, being a very simple lifestyle brand. Mm-hmm. And a push also was for me to be able to have that lifestyle as well through my business. And so I want it to grow, but I want it to grow with people that I know and have trusted for decades, and to just keep it as a family-owned business as long as possible. So yeah, success for me isn't, the venture capitalist. It's being able to pay my bills and support my family and continue to put out products that people will love and that they trust. And that would make me really happy.
Mm-hmm. Success is happiness.
That's all I'm seeking. That's all I'm seeking is happiness. Making the most value of my time here.
Mm-hmm. I love it. I love it. All right. Before we end, got a couple of quick questions. First thing that comes to mind, or you can expand a little bit. Everybody does. So first question, what is your favorite me time activity when you can find the time?
Mm-hmm. When I can find the time. I love documentaries.
Ooh, what type?
So right now, well, the last one I watched was true crime. I was on a true crime kick there for a while. I love travel documentaries as well. Food. I love chefs and the passion that they exude in food. But yes, it's gonna be documentaries. I'll always throw on a documentary.
Nice. Or is it the chef's intense energy?
I say that it is the intense energy, but like their passion for it, and it's like to go into that field, which isn't very lucrative, at baseline, but it's like, but I love this. I have to do this. Like, it's just such an art form for me. And I'm a total chef groupie. Yeah.
Yeah. Nice. Nice. I love it. Okay. Next question. What is the best piece of advice you have ever received?
The best piece of advice I have ever received. My mom. And I don't even think she knew she was giving me advice. I think she was more like just scolding me maybe in a way. But, when I was younger, I was the queen of doing too much. I was blow drying my curls. I wanted them straight. I was always out in heels. I was all of that. And there would be times where like I would do something. I don't know. Maybe she thought I put on too much makeup, or maybe she thought I shouldn't have blow dried my hair. And she would be like, "Ay, Jelitsa, you don't need to do all that. You don't need to do that." And okay. And I just keep hearing it, and her beauty rule, was one, love your brown skin. She was the proudest brown woman you'll ever meet. And two, you only need lipstick. That's it. If you have a red lip, you are good to go. You need nothing else. And so whenever she thought I was doing too much, she would always just be like, Jelitsa, you don't need all that. And I don't think I got it until I became a mom. But yeah.
Nice. A little advice from mommy. We love it. Okay. Next question. What is a piece of advice you would give anyone wanting to pursue a business like yours?
Oh, wow. Reach out, grow your community early. you never know who's going to say yes. You never know who's going to lend a helping hand. And I think you will be surprised more often than not that people are really helpful. People are genuinely or inherently good. And I had a story where I didn't, I was trying to figure out shipping and I didn't know where to begin. And the guy on the other end of the line, when I called the company, could tell that I was wet behind the ears. He was like, "Girl, please, you have no idea what you're talking about." And so he he stopped and he's like, "What are you trying to do?" And I explained it, and he took the time. We were on the phone for 25 minutes. He knew I wasn't going to be his customer, but he's like, "This is what you need to do. This is where you need to go," So I think just being vulnerable, which is something that I wish I would have done a little bit more. Just be vulnerable, ask questions, reach out. I know I'm an open book, so if you're listening, reach out to me.
Nice. I like that. I like that kind of stuck with you. More helpful than the City of Chicago Business License Department.
Oh, girl. No.
They don't want to help you. They're like, "You don't know. Sorry."
It's so funny because maybe it's just a city vibe. It's just a city thing. But going to the post office, there have been times that I'm like, why would I create a business that requires that I go into a post office every day?
Yeah.
It's such a hostile environment. It's like, what are you doing here? It's like, I just want to mail my packages, please.
Right?
But yes, for sure.
I love it. Okay. Next question. What is the best resource that has helped you along your journey?
The best resource that has helped me along in my journey. My gosh, there are so many. I feel like I'm constantly Googling. Your network of other entrepreneurs. They're phenomenal resources. They're great to bounce ideas off of. Facebook groups. Although I think they can sometimes get a little out of hand in terms of how many you're a part of, and it can overwhelming. But a really good Facebook group, can be really helpful. And then just knowing specifically what it is that you need and that niche space to get it. I feel like I'm not really giving you much of an answer, but it's so hard. There are so many different areas. But if I had to pick, I would definitely say a Facebook group or a circle of other small entrepreneurs.
Yeah, those are good ones. I think for sure they make a difference. And last question, where can listeners connect with you online? So share all the social media handles, website, etc.
Yeah. So I'm on Instagram at Uviña Skin. I also am now more active on TikTok, which is fun.
Hey.
So at Uviña Skin on there as well. I'm on Facebook, but if you want to reach out, definitely message me via our website. So www.uviñaskin.com. There you can read about our products, read our story, learn a little bit more about me, and shoot me a message.
Awesome. And I will link those all in the show notes so everybody can check them out and check out the products. Honestly, I feel like we are all in general, even if we slow down, it's still living that busy lifestyle. So to simplify it for your skin, check it out. And hopefully, you guys can, even review the products too, because those always help everybody else.
Sure does.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Jelitsa, for joining us on the Work Amiha podcast. And for everyone else listening, make sure to tune in for all the amazing, inspirational, motivational jefas. And I will see you guys next time. Bye.
Thanks for having me.
Yes. Bye.
Visit workmiha.com, that's WERKmiha.com, to pick up your new favorite Chingona Fuel Cafecito mug or our Bet on Yourself Mija and No Pares Mija apparel for yourself and your comadres chingonas. Don't forget to follow Work Mija on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook for fun Latinx-inspired content. Make sure to tune in to the Work Mija podcast and listen to more inspiring mujeres.